Hey guys, this is Raymond. You're watching RPAD TV 3000, and it is still Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month. And today I have a very special guest. He is my old college roommate, but many of you know him for working at such big and outstanding companies as Rockstar Games, MTV, and Samsung. He is the most excellent Jeff Castaneda. Hello, Jeff.
Hey, hey, what's up, Ray? How's it going, man?
Good. How are you today?
I am okay. Thank you so
Yes.
much for having me, man. I'm excited to talk to the viewers of Horse and Hound. Exciting.
Yes. I will never stop using that Chiron. Now, for those
Oh,
of
it's
you
amazing.
who
You're a legend.
no, sir, you are the legend. You are someone that I've known for a very long time. Um, very in many ways, I've always looked up to you and had a ton of respect for what you've done. Not just with your career, but you were always way more of a grown up than I was from when I met you in college. And that is,
Oh,
oh,
geez.
I can give examples of this all day long. Um, and I wanted to interview you for Asian American Pacific Heritage Month because I think your career and you yourself can be an inspiration for young people looking to get a career in entertainment. So, but plus, I just wanted to catch up with you on camera. So here we are.
Yes, sir. Well, it's an honor to be with you after all these years and getting to see you. It's just going to be fun.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, you are an inspiration as well. You
Oh,
are, a groundbreaker, a pioneer in the journalism biz in the video game industry. So it's cool to be. It was always cool to have like a parallel path with you, and
yeah.
just to feel comfortable knowing that, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's
And you
crazy.
see that? You see that, people? He said I'm a groundbreaker because I'm fat. No, that's
I
that's what
am.
he
That's
that's what he meant. I break ground all over the world
nope.
wherever I go.
We're like brown hulks. It's okay, man. It's okay.
So let's take a scroll back through memory lane and talk about your college years. If I remember correctly, you majored in communications. What attracted you to that major? Why did you decide to study that?
Well, let's see. As with all, you've heard the story before with, our Asian American, Filipino American parents,
Yeah.
telling us that they'd like us to be doctors or lawyers or accountants or whatever. For myself, I knew that was not going to be my future because it just, it wasn't my interest. However, I thought maybe communications was a a major that I could explore and find my way into my eventual dream, which was working in the entertainment business. And I think communications, like there's PR, there's advertising, there's marketing. So
Yeah.
I felt like that was a path I could take.
Did was there any pushback from your parents when you told them that you were studying communications?
I don't know. I don't think there was any pushback. More so that they were just hoping I would one day land a job,
Right,
and make
right, right.
money so I could fend for myself eventually after I graduated college, you know.
Yeah.
I think that where the pushback came, yeah, where the pushback came was eventually when I started working. I had several jobs that I could have had. One was working in advertising, one was in PR. And my first job out of PR was working for an agency in New York called Markham Novell Communications, and um, their clients were folks like the World Wrestling Federation at the time, the Muppets, and Midway Home Entertainment or Williams Entertainment way back when.
Right.
So I think they were only paying like $17,000 a year, and I
Oh
said,
wow.
yes, sign me up. My parents, yeah, and my parents thought I was insane. And
Right.
in retrospect, I was insane for taking it, but I felt that was those sort of clientele would lead me on a path that I thought would be very cool, or at
And
least
it
different.
did. It absolutely did.
it,
Um,
it did.
but I mean, communications might get a bad rap, but I think it prepares people to to think, speak, and write clearly, which is instrumental in a number of jobs and obviously has paid off well for you. How did a communications degree prepare you for your professional life?
Yeah, so communications was a an amazing major in the sense that, to your point, you know, writing is a huge part of it. Knowing how to express your thoughts or ideas very clearly, whether it's written or spoken. I
Right.
remember taking at SUNY Albany, where we both went to school. There was a speech class, which I thought was amazing. Because it forced you to get up in front of a bunch of people and persuade them, convince them of whatever topic you were presenting about. I do remember. Uh, oh my God, I can't believe I'm telling this. One of the assignments was to make the class remember your name, remember who
Ah,
you were. So yeah, so I decided to come up with a sort of rap, a rhyme scheme to my name, Jeffrey Castaneda, and it comprised of things like, if it's cold outside, I'll buy you a sweater. Why? Because I'm Jeffrey Castaneda. And so at by the end, so by the end of the speech I gave, the whole it was a call and response sort of thing. So the
nice.
class knew to respond with Jeffrey Castaneda. So it was cool. So that's instrumental in trying to get people to not only do you write or speak clearly, but they are interested in what you have to say and they remember it. So that was all
Right.
sort of part of it.
And we have a comment from the Peanut Gallery. I believe you know this man, Rob F.
Uh-oh.
I love you guys, but this
I
is
love
past
you
my
too.
bedtime, so I'll watch the rest tomorrow. You're both looking great. Get Jeff a microphone.
Oh my goodness.
Ah,
Rob
so,
Pickle King, we are delighted to hear from you. Love you too, sir.
and I love you, and I miss you, Rob. God, I don't remember the last time I saw him. Um, that do you remember the song I used to sing to you in college that had
To
your
me.
name in it?
Oh
Yes,
yeah. Oh my God. Yes. Yes. Sade.
that's
Sade.
right.
Smooth Castaneda.
Smooth
Yes.
Castaneda.
I tell my wife about that a lot sometimes when the song comes on, and she just
Does she
looks at
call
me.
you that now?
Never. Nope. Nope.
Okay, we'll work on that.
Cool.
Come on,
Thank you,
Jen. One
sir.
day, one day.
One day. Yes.
Now, when I knew you in college, music was a big part of your life. I'm not going to say that you were in a band, but I also remember you messing around with Manisha's keyboards, writing down lyrics, and you also
Yes.
developed that creative part of your brain that I think also influenced your career. Can you talk about what music meant to you and how it has influenced your not only your personal life but your professional life?
Oh, sure. Well, let it uh, be known that it wasn't just me who was dabbling in the music biz and the
Yes.
writing music. Yes, Ray was also part of the clique, the group, playing his guitar, if I'm not or the right on
Yeah.
with us on stage, which I know you still play today. So yeah, back then, music was definitely a big part of my life, and I wanted to hopefully eventually work in that space. And throughout college, I dabbled, in performing with you guys. Um, at one point, speaking of music, Club MTV, the folks at
That's
Club
right.
MTV,
That's
they
right.
came up to SUNY Albany, where we went to college, and they were looking for dancers, and they held a competition on campus in the SUNY Albany gymnasium, where it was like very American Bandstand or Grease, where they
Yeah.
put numbers on your back, and if you get tapped, you're out. But I lasted throughout the whole entire you know evening, and then I had to battle this dude on stage in front of the whole entire school, and I got selected to go to Club MTV and dance for 15 episodes, which is crazy with Downtown Julie Brown there at
Nice.
the Palladium. So that was my first taste into the world of music and entertainment. And that just blew my mind. That was freshman year of college. So, like, that really really, really, got it in my head that damn, I want to do this because this is. And plus, there was no other, being Filipino, it felt really good to represent up there.
Yeah. Yeah,
Right? Yeah.
absolutely. I mean, it was who else was on MTV? Nia Peoples, and that was it. It's like, yeah,
Party Machine
that's
back in the
right.
day.
Now, maybe I'm remembering this wrong, but when you had that dance off at the end, is it true that you ran out of moves and started doing some like rerun stuff? Because that's the story I remember. I don't remember if it's
It,
true or not, though.
it's it's kind of right. Yeah. So the way the competition went down was that the DJ would just throw out songs that were totally different from each other just so that they could see how you'd react to the music they would play just like they would on Club MTV. So they'd go
Ah,
from like Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch,
yeah.
to like Janet Jackson, and I think the song was Pleasure Principle by Janet Jackson. And then for some reason, I started in my head just remembering the video, trying to do some of those rerun style moves, and it came off. It came off well. So I mean, obviously they liked it enough so that they chose me.
Yeah.
Uh, so you know,
Hey, and the lockers are legends, man.
oh hell yeah, dude.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
didn't we lost Aldolfo
Yes,
Shabadoo
Shabadoo
Quinones pretty recently. So
Jonas. Yes.
rest in peace, sir.
Oh, speaking of which, hold on one sec. I have something here.
Uh-oh.
Hold on.
We have props. I love this. What could it be?
The because I love them so much. This is Shabatu
Oh my God.
Quinones. Yes, I
That's
got.
amazing.
Yes, exactly. Break-in action figure.
Who made those? Is that Hasbro or?
No, 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 no. It's this company called Super Seven, I think. Reaction figures. So they
Oh
have
my
one for
God.
each. Boogaloo shrimp and ozone turbo and ozone. I have. Yes.
And there had to be a Kelly figure too, right?
There,
There's
there. Yes, there was a
okay.
Kelly figure, but I chose not to get Kelly. I just got turbo.
You don't have the full TKO set.
No, I don't. Oh, see, this is the reason why I wanted to do this.
For my bullshit pop culture
No, this is
encyclopedic
fantastic.
knowledge.
No, this is exactly the type of thing, the conversation I'd love to have on a daily basis.
That's excellent. Now, do you still play music at all, or do you try to teach your kids music or anything?
No, my children, my daughter especially, she's really into music. She has an amazing singing voice. She's taken voice lessons. She was in a band at this school called So I Heard. She's been singing in Japanese and Korean,
Oh, wow.
Tagalog. Yeah, she's real, like she's extremely talented. I love seeing her. Like we do karaoke, with each other.
I mean,
Um,
we're
yeah.
Filipino, don't we have
Oh
to?
yeah,
Like, isn't that-
of course, right?
I was actually thinking about you specifically. I was messing around on my acoustic,
Uh-huh.
um, figuring out an acoustic arrangement of Boys to Men for Waters Run Dry, and I'm like, I
Water
got to
was
do
dry,
this with
yeah.
Jeff. I think this
Amazing.
would be bad. I think it'd be awesome.
Like you use the word awesome very loosely. I think you'd be awesome. Me, I
No,
just kind of, yeah, I think I bring the band down.
no, it would be fun. And speaking of band, you mentioned it earlier. We performed together as Halcyon.
Yes, we did. Yes,
And
we
I,
did.
I think our song was The Colors with a U. We did the English spelling, The Colors of Halcyon.
Yes. It's like
Do you
Culture
remember
Club.
any of? Yes.
It's like
Do you
Culture
remember
Club
any of the
colors by
lyrics?
number. Um
I
I'm
do.
blanking, Ray. I'm blanking, Ray.
Life is the rhythm, and the rhythm is life.
Oh my God.
You got the
Yes,
next
that's right.
line? Like,
I give up. I'm not gonna.
oh, it's both difficult to cut like a knife.
See, this is why I never made it actually as a performer or a songwriter in the music business. So, but thank you. We have one fan that remembers, and co-wrote. I give you co-writing credit on that. How's that?
At times they may seem out to hurt you. Instruments that just may pervert you.
That was us. We did that.
Except in
Actually,
my
that's not
head,
bad.
because you were
Yeah.
doing this like hard. It was like a rock and roll. It was almost like a Chili Peppers kind of thing where you were rapping over rock.
Oh yeah, like Linkin Park. Yeah, we were
Yeah,
ahead of our time. Yeah.
but in my head, I was hearing Bobby McFerrin. I'm like, life is the rhythm, and the rhythm is life. Both difficult to cut like a knife. Don't
See,
worry.
it's better that way. Actually, you should
That's the
totally do this.
remix. Let's
Yes,
do the
exactly.
remix. Get
Indeed,
one of
indeed.
these guys. But I
Oh,
will, I will,
amazing.
I will hopefully bring a guitar to E3, and hopefully
Ah.
we can do our acoustic Boys to Men at LA Live before they kick us out.
Oh, oh, of course. Yes, indeed, indeed.
But earlier I was saying, like, even in college, I think, well, you are a little bit older than me because your clique was friends with my cousin, and you started in Albany before I did. So of course
Hmm.
I was the baby of the group, the immature one, not
Yeah.
just chronologically but also mentally. But you're always more together. You always joked around and had fun, but you knew when to study hard. You knew when to play hard, when to study hard, when to work hard. And I always admired that
For my,
about you.
I appreciate that. That's obviously not true. I think the folks
Oh my
around us, our friends, were better students than I ever was.
Oh, please. I distinctly remember you were the only one paying attention in accounting 200. And Steve and I were throwing papers in your hood, seeing who could score the most. That was the extent of that class for me. And even
Oh
later
my
on,
God.
when we had started our careers, I remember we were both in LA at the same time.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
my friend Raina and I went to visit you, or you went to visit us. I forget whose hotel we were at, but we were all looking at what we were reading. You were off in some meeting. Raina was reading Hellboy. I was reading Justice League. And then we look over on your table. You had like Susie Ormond financial books. You're like, yeah, this guy's way more together than we are. I mean, like
Oh my
Hellboy and
God.
Justice League versus financial planning over here. So,
Oh, I used to have street cred. Now it's dipped a bit.
no, no,
You
this
know,
is
me and Steve.
hey, this is things people should admire. Like
Thank
in
you.
many
Thank
ways, I did a lot of stupid shit when I was young, especially with money, and I had a good
But we all
time.
did,
But
dude. We
yeah,
all did. Yeah.
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 Now, one of the things that I'm proud of us for is that we started the Filipino students group at Albany, um,
Yes.
and it has grown into something beyond anything I ever envisioned. I don't know how about you? Like, you keep in touch with those kids a bit more than I do, but what did starting the
Yeah.
Filipino club? What did it mean to you to start it, and what does it mean to you seeing how far it's come?
Well, it's amazing because I think, us hanging out together, and at a time when uh, Filipinos weren't as visible as they are today in mainstream American culture. There was no Joe Coy, there was no Bruno Mars, there was
Right,
no Manny Pacquiao or her or anything like that. So
Apple
the
Diap.
fact that we look to each other, Apple
Yeah,
the exactly, but we look to each other for to find a bit of home, whether it's the food, just seeing a brown fellowed individual,
yeah,
so we you feel like we felt, you know cool, safe, cool, at school. So starting the Liga Filipino was amazing because it was like, why not solidify it and make it part of, um you know, SUNY Albany's extracurricular, activities and stuff, and
yeah.
have people join and check it out. Create events, get people to know our culture. Um, and yeah, I can't believe that it's still around today, stronger than ever. It's grown incredibly, and a lot of that work, man, was put in by you and a lot of the folks with,
And you too. Yeah.
yeah, oh, true, true. But this is the Asian Student Association, the other Asian groups up there. It's pretty amazing to see how it's evolved and grown for what we started.
Yeah, and we had a lot of friends that were active in the other students groups, like Will Tong, our
Who
friend
who
Tom
lives in
Tom
my
Chang.
town? Yes,
Oh,
Tom
does he
Chang.
now? Tom
Yes,
Chang, another
Tom
one we
Chang. Rest in
lost way
peace.
too early, man.
Yes, exactly.
And we had a lot of friends in all these other student groups, and I'm like, hey, we keep hanging out with these guys in their groups and their event. Where's our stuff, man?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
and we made a thing, and it lasted, and that's kind of blows my mind.
I think, our generation of it was a great time for, we were like the just we were start the I don't know, not trendsetters, it's not the word I'm looking for,
The
but you know
trailblazers. I don't
I
know.
mean, in a way, I don't want to give us that much credit, but like at that time, because there was no visibility, we
Right.
had to start it ourselves. We were the ones who laid the groundwork. I'll say that much. So
Yeah.
that so people could feel like they were a part of something and they felt, like they belonged. So it's really cool that what we started is still there today, and seeing how how much it's grown and how much it's evolved. It's fantastic.
Yeah. So kudos to everyone that has carried Liga Filipina to the next level. It's really amazing what you guys have done for the organization, and I can't wait to see where you go next.
Yeah.
But I'm not letting go of your maturity and responsibility. Where did that come from? Is that from your parents?
Yeah, maturity, responsibility. I don't know. I don't know if I can agree with that, but still, yeah, I try. Um, it was my parents. Obviously, they were very strict growing up. They pushed us really hard, myself and my brother. And I think as all children do, they want to please their parents,
Right.
uh, but also find their own identity as we grow and mature. So I think part of as I was trying to find my way in college and eventually my career, um, I said, "Look, I'll work hard. Try to be as successful as possible, but I want to do it my way. I'm not going to follow the blueprint that you guys are telling me I need to do, like being a doctor or a lawyer. And that would have
Right.
been great too if I could do that, but it just wasn't my thing. So it was really, for me, I was determined to try to succeed or achieve something cool or great by working in the entertainment field or trying to do something I was really passionate about. And I think that's where a lot of that drive came from. Just wanting to prove to them that you know I'm making the right decision, and I'll show you that I can succeed in this, despite my first job making only $17,000. So
Right. And you totally Sinatra'd them. You did it your way. Love it.
exactly, yes, sir. Classic Filipino karaoke song.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Now, when you were talking about your first job working for Mark, and one of your clients was Williams slash Midway, I remember one of my favorite
Mhm.
stories from your first experiences was when you were mistaken for Liu Kang. Can you tell people that story? Do you even remember it, or am I the only one that remembers like all this dumb stuff? I think it's great.
But so you said mistaken for Luke. I have a story that I do specifically remember was um, back then. That was when the Mortal Kombat movie came out, right?
Hmm.
And Mortal Kombat was so huge that they even had a traveling
That's right.
not Broadway, a traveling Mortal Kombat show, kind of like Mortal
Right.
Kombat on Ice, right?
Yes.
So Mortal Kombat the live tour, that's what it was. So they were performing at Radio City, which is
Right.
insane. And I was told in order to drum up publicity for the show at Radio City, my boss at the time was like, "Well, we're going to rent a van and you're going to take all the characters, Liu Kang, Sonya Blade, Jax, and you're going to
Right.
drive to landmarks around New York City and you're going to stage fights." So the first place we pulled up to was the Plaza Hotel. So I pulled up to the front, I let them out of the van, and then next thing you know, I see like some commotion. And then eventually it felt like slow motion. They came running out of the Plaza Hotel and they're just yelling. And they're all in costume, mind you. Start the car. And they all jump in. Next thing you know, we're surrounded by Plaza Hotel security. And they're like, "Who the hell do you think that you are?" And then I was scared out of my mind. But all of a sudden they said, "Who do you think you are?" And the guys in the back start yelling, "Mortal Kombat!" It was just so ridiculous.
And wasn't one of the guys you were going around with Akeem? It
Yes,
wasn't,
that's
yeah.
right. That's
So
right.
we have
Yes.
a few of our friends know him from the martial arts circuit. So they knew Akeem.
Oh,
Um,
that's
I
awesome. Yeah.
I don't know who else performed. It was Chris Casamassa on that tour because he did
Chris Chris he was what do you call it? Scorpion?
Scorpion. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Well, there was a guy named a Filipino guy actually, Carmichael Simon, who played
Carmichael.
Liu
Yeah,
Kang.
yeah.
Yes, yes, and he was on a martial arts TV show
The World Martial
uh
Arts Championship. Yes.
yes, that's right. That's right. Exactly. And then Carrie Hoskins, who was Sonya Blade.
Ah, she was on that
She
too. Yeah,
yes, she was on that tour too. Yeah. So
yeah.
yeah, it was a wild beginning in the video game industry.
So this is what I remember. It was during this tour. You were climbing up, I think, fixing a light or something, and then some kids in the audience were like, "It's Liu Kang," and you're
Yeah.
like, "Where?" It's like,
That's
"Oh,
right. Oh my God. That's right. That's right. Because I was giving a tour. Sorry, I was giving. Gre- so Gregory Hines, right? His children, like dancer, tap dancer,
yeah,
actor, Gregory
wow,
Hines. So his
whoop." And we have lost Jeff momentarily. This is the perils of a live program. So we're just going to hang out here for a second. I'm going to get rid of Jeff's Chiron and put me back until Jeff comes back. So you're just stuck with me. Um, I might do some poetry. I could get my guitar, or we can hang out with Grogu for a bit. You want to see? Want to see what Grogu's up to? Whoop! Watch the mic, man. There's Grogu, and we are back with Jeff. That's okay. We had technical difficulty, but we are back here. We're good on sound, buddy?
hello.
All right. Now I hear you.
Right.
So you were taking around Gregory Hines's kids.
Yes, that's right.
That's
On a
crazy.
tour of radio. Yes, on a tour of Radio City Music Hall, and for some reason we ended up walking along the sides of like near one of the balcony seats. And all of a sudden, the kids that were in the audience started pointing up and they started chanting, "Liu Kang, Liu Kang." And but I had hair at the time, so I don't know. I don't think I was built like Liu Kang or looked like Liu Kang, but I guess because I was Asian, they thought, "Oh, that's Liu Kang. It's got to be."
Yeah. In my book, I'm going to be like, yo, I know the guy that played Liu Kang.
That is funny. I haven't thought
I'm
about
so
that in years. Oh my God.
very happy I remember that. Um, Now, a lot of the people in the video game business that have known you for a long time, they think of you in very high regard, and a lot of them say that you had a great mentor in Steven Stiles. Um, Now that could be controversial. It might not be, but I think you learned a lot from him, and he certainly helped put you on a
Sure.
path
Yeah.
for sure. And
Yes,
can you
exactly. He
talk
did.
talk about some of your influences
He
earlier
gave me
in
my
your career?
Oh, sure, sure. Well, Stephen, yeah, he gave me my first job at Markham Novell Communications, and working with Stephen was great. He did send me on that crazy tour where Mortal Kombat characters fought and stuff, and that was hysterical. But he did give me insight into what the possibilities of this working in entertainment could be like,
Right.
working on things like Mortal Kombat, but then things like working on the Muppets, getting involved in some WWF stuff, now
Yeah.
WWE obviously early on was fantastic. And then other folks in the industry, well, Rob Fleischer, who
Yeah.
checked
Yeah.
in earlier, uh, you know, meeting him and your former roommate as well.
Yeah.
he was one of the first people in the industry that like I connected with, even though we were very different from each other. The Pickle King is somebody who I just looked to as, I looked at him as somebody who just was totally himself, totally genuine, and knew his stuff. And
Yeah.
that's what I sought after in being a PR person, is to be genuine and authentic and just someone who just was well versed and well liked. So
And
he
no
is
no
someone I definitely hold in
pretense.
high regard.
No
No,
pretense with
no
that guy
pretense
at all.
whatsoever.
Yeah. That's
Right,
probably my favorite thing
exactly,
about him. Like, you know exactly what you're getting every second you're with that guy.
yeah,
So that's an amazing thing.
exactly.
But I think,
Enthusiasm as well too.
wasn't that later though? Because wasn't that him, you being at ASC and him being at ASCII? Was that how you guys met, or people would confuse your companies
Yes,
all the
that's
time?
right.
Jeez.
Yeah, I was at ASC Games, who was the company who had the original rights to Grand Theft Auto in the US,
That's right.
and which eventually sold to Take-Two, and Rockstar. But yeah, I was at ASC Games, he was at ASCII, and I think we met at E3 in Atlanta, maybe,
Hmm.
where we all hung out. It might have been early. I can't remember at this point, but yeah, I think we just hit it off there. And then next thing you know, flew out to San Francisco, stayed at his place, and we just became fast friends ever since. Like it's like,
Yeah,
and it was just instant connection.
absolutely. Now, after ASC, of course, your next step was at,
Rockstar Games,
and you probably
yes.
had the biggest game of that generation, one of the biggest games of all time. What was working on such a monster like, and especially not only because of how big it was, but because I knew a little bit about your bosses, and they put a lot of pressure on you. And sometimes it was,
Sure.
in my opinion, sometimes it was not fair. I think that's the nicest way to say it. But what was that whole experience like
Yeah. True. True.
at the time and in retrospect?
Sure. Well, first off, I have to thank Trisha Gray, another legendary PR person in the business who, was friends with Rob, friends with me, friends with everybody in the industry. And,
Yeah.
I think we were hanging out at E3 while I was at ASC Games. And she was like, they need some more PR help. I know this commute up to ASC in Connecticut is crazy. You live in New York anyway. You should be working at Rockstar. And it, hearing of what she explained to me Rockstar was all about, I bought in instantly, because Rockstar, it wasn't the Rockstar that we know of today. It was still
No.
very in its infancy, its early days, right? Yeah. So they were a small outfit. They were essentially trying to become the Def Jam of video games, and introduce a
Right.
whole new segment of gaming to the mainstream population. So, um, when I got on board there, it was wild because they didn't really have a testing team. They didn't have QA. So we would, when I'd work, all of us that were there would work the first 8 hours of our day. We do our normal jobs. I was doing PR. But then in the evening, from 6 to 9 or 6 to 10 or whatever, we would test the games.
Ooh.
So it was rough, but you could tell early on. I mean, it was a very determined group. It was, for lack of a better word, scrappy, determined, gritty.
Yeah.
It was you know, um, down
You
in
were
Soho.
the scrappy upstarts that were
Yeah,
changing the video game business forever. And I loved
yeah,
watching it from afar.
yeah. It was insane. Being in Soho, New York, and it's not typically where video games were made.
No.
So because everybody was out on the West Coast, it was Japan, etc. But the 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 premise that they started the company on, which was to, like dragons and fairies and all that sort of video games. Other people do that. Other companies do that better. But
Right.
we can make video game content that's based on the things that the founders, our generation, things that we love, movies that we love, like The Godfather,
Right.
Scarface, Boys in the Hood, Sopranos, etc. So, stuff that like The Warriors, and the music we loved too is like, whether it was hip hop or punk or
Yeah.
whatever, that's skateboard culture. It was it was all encapsulated in what Rockstar wanted to achieve. And those early days weren't easy. I don't think the industry didn't take us seriously at first, but
Right.
a big part of their mindset was like, video games were relegated to like the video game section in like magazines and stuff, but they were determined to put them on the covers of Rolling Stone or Spin magazine or the New York Times or whatever, because said this is the video game industry. Video games are that important and will change the way
Yeah.
people view entertainment.
Yeah. In my head, Rockstar was the first video game company to do the lifestyle brand thing well. And I think you were
Yes.
an instrumental part of that. Of course, you had cool English guys too, so they're always hip.
This is true. It's always better if you have an English accent, I think.
And the way they say things like, "Look at this controversy." I'm like, "What? I don't even know what that means." It's like,
Very true.
it's like,
Agreed. 100%.
but I mean, it seemed like an amazing thing, but also it seemed like a very taxing thing. At the time, did you ever feel like this is not worth it, man? Or
I mean, honestly, it part of it was an immense feeling of pride working at Rockstar,
hmm,
because we knew we had something special, especially when Grand Theft Auto 3 came around and, we
yeah,
were starting to push that. We knew that we were pushing buttons that, and in content that people hadn't seen before, and it was actually stuff that I related to, whether it was the music in the games, the fashion, etc. I was like, damn, this is exactly what I was like I told you before, I always wanted to work in entertainment, and video games. I thought I was like, oh, this is an interesting pathway into entertainment, but video games encapsulated everything amazing about the entertainment industry. It had everything from music, art, fashion, uh, you know, all the above. It was all creativity, immense, and incredible story writing. So it was all part captured in video games, and it's something that um, these guys at Rockstar, Sam Hauser, Terry Donovan, Dan Hauser, and all those guys there, that they pushed all of us there to want to change gaming, and
yeah.
little by little, it came to fruition.
I think it was the right time and the right job for you because maybe if you were a little bit older, maybe if you were 5 years older, you wouldn't have put up with some of the stuff that you had to do at the time because you worked a ton, man, and you worked hard.
Yeah,
You
dude.
worked really hard
Yeah.
at the time. So
Yeah,
kudos
I
to
mean,
you.
to your point earlier, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, to your point earlier about was it taxing? Yeah, it was definitely taxing because, you know, eh, all the controversies, the video game industry was looked upon as kids games, right? So
Right.
despite having a rating system, the game is set for 17, it's mature, 17 and up. Uh, Mainstream media looked upon it as just a kids game, and why are we marketing to kids? And we try to just continue to push the idea that, hey, if movies or television shows can be created with capturing a mature audience, why can't video games do the same
Yeah.
thing? So but it took a long time, and we were just like the music industry had, whether it was heavy metal, whether it was Two Live Crew, the
Yeah.
video game industry
Yeah.
had Grand Theft Auto, and that took a lot out of me. It did.
Yeah.
But
It's
as
the price to pay for being a trailblazer, my friend. Look at you.
thank you,
No,
thank you, thank you,
it is
thank
an
you.
amazing thing. I do want to. Oh, I did forget a point. Going back to Markham Novell, you did represent
Yes.
the Muppets. Am I
Hmm.
remembering this correctly? That one of the reasons you wanted to study piano was because you liked Rolf from the Muppets.
Um, Not quite, but the reason why I wanted to, I loved Jim Henson. He was one of my idols,
Yeah,
growing up, the creator of Muppets. So,
yeah,
I just
absolutely.
couldn't believe that that my first job out of that would have been a dream job to work, on Sesame Street or something like that. But the fact that I got to work with the Muppets for a short time, uh, straight out of college, I remember being at the Jim Henson mansion in the city, for an event. And I remember, like, doing check-in as PR people do for journalists coming in. I remember sitting at the desk and looking into like one of the rooms there, and I saw like little tufts of hair poking out from behind this thing. I was like, who's that? So I snuck around, and next thing you know, I see the giant Muppets of Bert and Ernie, and
Oh, that's rad.
I was like, oh my God, that's amazing.
Yeah,
So stuff like that, those moments where you find yourself in the things that you loved growing up, watching, experiencing, like that
absolutely.
always blew my mind. Yeah, yeah,
And Jim
definitely.
Henson in particular, Jim Henson was probably the first celebrity death that really affected me just because of the way
Yeah,
he
yeah,
touched the world and he influenced kids. And he's, so few people make the world better
yes,
than,
agreed.
and he's one of those people. So
A hundred
that
percent, man.
amazing that you got to work with that too. So after Rockstar Games, you went to MTV, which is,
Yes.
also not a small company. So, but very different though, because Rockstar was something you helped build up into a
Mm.
giant, tremendous thing, whereas MTV has been in. Well, obviously, you were dancing for them in college, and then you went to work for them on some pretty big projects. Can you tell the people out there some of the things they worked on that they might remember?
Yes, sure, sure. So, when I was leaving Rockstar, after Grand Theft Auto San Andreas had come out, I was really burnt out. It had taken its toll, even though that game was one of my favorites ever because, it was about, the hip hop music soundtrack, the content. It was just amazing. But it, all the travel, all the controversy surrounding it, I was like, I feel like I need to move on. And
Yeah.
ironically enough, the day that Grand Theft Auto San Andreas came out, I got a call on my way driving to work that day from a friend of mine who worked at MTV. Her name is Jennifer de Guzman, Filipino woman, and she said, there's a job opening here at MTV. Maybe you'd be interested. And I was like, huh, maybe. And obviously, MTV is such a was a beacon of pop culture for youth. And in my mind, I was like, wow, that would be amazing. I've already done my amazing things at Rockstar. It'd be great to get into TV, be great to get into the music side of the business, and try to reinvent myself and learn something new, because I was at Rockstar for 6 years. Um, and I was like, I think, and at the time too, I had just proposed to my wife to be, Jen. And I was like, I don't know if I could work in this manner and deal with
Yeah.
all the stress from Rockstar
Yeah.
and be married at the same time. Right. So I was like, maybe this change would be good and to try to just do something different and be at an established brand like MTV. Like, I didn't have MTV growing up, but, obviously we all watched it. We watched it. I remember you and we used to watch Beavis and Butthead, you know, all the time in college. Um, and it's weird because I ended up working on that show,
I
the
know.
relaunch. Yeah.
I remember seeing your name in the credits, and I don't know. I just felt very proud. I'm like, that's my boy. it's like we made it. But it was so cool seeing your name in the credits for Beavis and Butthead. I
I
mean,
mean, imagine trying to explain to my parents what a Beavis and a Butthead is. But it was, yeah, I mean, going to MTV was great. I started out at MTV2 over there, and then I got moved on to MTV. And what's funny about the whole, working in video games previously, was
hmm
that MTV decided, you know what? Oh, we're going to purchase a video game developer, and which happened to be Harmonix,
Yep.
the developers of the original Grand Guitar Hero series franchise. And we went on to create Rock Band, and they're like, wait, we have a video game PR guy here. Let's put him on the Rock Band project. So, going from Rock Star to Rock Band it felt like a no-brainer, and I was
Yeah.
just fortunate as hell to
Like,
be able to work on both all those crazy franchises.
And perfect fit. I mean, you knew all the press anyway, so they might
Right,
as well take
right.
advantage of it. And
Yeah.
what another tremendous game to work on, Rock Band.
Oh God.
Jeez, man,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, man. I mean, I mean, you guys were all part of it. All the journalists, you guys saw it too. Like we were at that weird E3 in Santa Monica, and we had with EA and MTV Games, we had and Harmonix, we had it set up in that weird, I don't know,
The
wherever it was set
hanger,
up,
yeah,
the hangar. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And but just the fact that people would just walk up to the game, and it was out of all my years at MTV, like just the fact that MTV and rock band, like music was at the core of it. It was
yeah.
fantastic, you know. Like, all the classic records that were in that game, seeing a bunch of journalists sing at the top of their lungs, Bon Jovi, you know,
Mhm.
Dead or Alive at in a hotel room playing Rock Band. It was magical, like literally magical. Like a bunch of like 40, 50 dudes and females from the video game industry singing in a hotel room at the top of their lungs. And the fact that a video game with plastic instruments was doing that was amazing, amazing.
I don't remember what party it was, but it must have been an EA thing or something. But they had a party. There were some celebrities there, and they had Rock Band out. And I,
Mhm.
I remember just a bunch of journalists playing, but then every now and then a celebrity would come up and play, and I'm like, oh shit, McLovin is playing the drums.
Oh
Like,
yeah, that
yeah,
was the Beatles. Yeah, the Beatles on the
or
rooftop
Beatles.
party.
Oh yeah,
Yes,
yeah, yeah,
Beatles
yeah.
rock band. Yeah, yeah,
It's like, I'm like McLovin.
yeah.
Cool.
So crazy, right? Like that's
Yeah,
the great thing about the video game industry and the combination of MTV and video games and Rock Band and Harmonix. It was just like that was a crazy moment in time, right? The peak of it, where we actually got the Beatles to do a Rock
that's,
Band video
that's
game.
absolutely nuts, but incredible.
Dude, I have to tell you, like when Xbox they did the announcement, I remember Xbox, they always hold their press conferences at
Mhm.
E3, right, to kick off E3, and the night before they go through the dress rehearsals and everything. So obviously Paul McCartney and Ringo Starr, they weren't going to show up because it would just give it away. So they were
Right.
everybody was so secretive about it. So you know who the stand-in was on stage to go through their script,
Was
and
it Liu Kang?
it was I.
Yes.
It was I, Liu Kang.
So
Yes,
you
that's
got to
right.
be Liu Kang and Paul McCartney. That's
And Ringo,
amazing. And Ringo. Wow,
and Ringo, yes. So that's like a highlight. The fact that I got to stand in for two of the Beatles was pretty
that's
crazy.
right.
Yeah.
You ever notice how they're dying in the order of coolness? That's funny.
That's so foul. But I will say, it was crazy to meet them. It was crazy to meet them, at that press conference, and just I literally, once they got on stage, I don't think I've ever, like, I got emotional,
Of course,
seeing,
it's the freaking Beatles,
yeah.
man. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And the fact that we were involved in it, and the fact we were bringing this to light, and the fact that we were, you know, yeah, we were working with the Beatles, and this amazing music uh
yeah.
was going to be introduced to a whole new generation of kids. It was great.
And
It was so, yeah.
I think there's something there about being Filipino also, because it seems like for every aunt, uncle, or parent that we've lost, like in my life, plays at their funerals.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
dude.
it's just a
Yeah.
beautiful song. My dad, like Rubber Soul, was the first album that he got me to think about music as an art form, because that was his favorite album. And the more
Wow.
I got to learn about it, especially compared to their earlier stuff, I'm like, wow, this is mind blowing how they went from,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
The reinvention that happened through each of the albums, right?
yeah,
It was, yeah. And I love the fact that your dad loved Rubber Soul too, because like a lot of the Filipinos, parents, they love the earlier stuff, right? Like
yeah,
when they
yeah,
first,
like Love Me
right?
Do and Please
Yeah,
Please
yeah,
Me
yeah.
and all that. And catchy
Right.
as hell, but
Sure.
like Rubber Soul was the first time I thought of music as something, as an expression, not just a, I don't know, something to have fun with. I thought of it as
Totally.
art for the first time.
Yes. Yes. And you know, while it was hard to explain to my parents, what Beavis and Butthead were,
They
uh,
got the Beatles.
they got the Beatles. Yeah, they totally when they found out I was working with the Beatles and I got to go to Abbey Road and all this sort of stuff. They were blown away. And I think that moment in time was that crowning moment where I was like, see, I told you I could
Ah,
do it. I could do it in this industry. I could figure it out and be successful. And it was more than I ever dreamed of. I mean, who would ever think they get to work with the Beatles?
that's amazing. But it was
Yeah.
was that the moment that for your parents where they finally got it what you did for a
I think,
living?
yeah. Well, to a degree, like they still think I work in advertising, not they don't know what PR is. Yeah.
No, it's
But
good.
yeah, yeah.
That's
It's
good.
close. I was like, close.
My mom still has no idea what the hell I do. So, and I've given up trying to explain it. So it's a
It's
lost
all
cause.
good, man. Just know I
Yes.
am a trailblazer. I am a trailblazer. It's
Yes.
good. Yeah.
You're the trailblazer and I'm the groundbreaker because of the gut here.
It's all good. Hey, I got it. I got it, man. I got it as well.
Oh no. I'm totally beating you there. I'm now after was MTV your last job in video games? Am I remembering that correctly?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, because after working on Rock Band, they was great there was that they were like, we want you to work on other shows here at MTV. We want you to. So I was doing, Beavis and relaunched Beavis and Butthead and the relaunch of Punk. Like I was like like an older member of the team, so they gave me all that, like the relaunch of Unplugged and
Ah,
and I led the Video Music Awards PR for the last 4 or 5 years of my time there, which was amazing.
yeah.
So things like the Beyonce Baby Bump reveal or the Lady Gaga meat dress or things like that. The fact that I was able to lead the PR on that with the team and witness some of those seminal pop culture moments that happened. It was, yeah, it was amazing to be a part of that. I used to pinch myself all the time, like NSYNC reuniting. You
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's just awesome. It's very very cool stuff. So yeah, um, it was yeah. It's funny because I know MTV gets a lot of crap for not playing music anymore. I get it, right? But they were masters at reinvention, but my time there was filled with my favorite times were all about the music, and
Yeah.
they educated me. Because I grew up listening to a lot of hip hop and R&B and stuff like that, but through MTV and being, rock band, being part of Rock Band and the Video Music Awards, I was like my musical palette expanded, rock,
Oh, of
everything,
course. Yeah.
every type of music.
Yeah.
It's great, so it was a lot of fun. I would not trade that for the world either. It was
And
a great time.
despite our different styles and interests, we do have some overlap in kinds of the music we like. I mean, you
Yeah.
can be from where we're from and not love Tribe. So I mean, they were
Oh,
tremendous.
hell yeah.
De La
Right.
Soul,
Exactly.
we lost Plug 2 recently, so that also amazing
Yes.
from where
Yes.
we're from in New York. So but even then, now I'm
Yeah.
like I've recently have been really into playing Red Hot Chili Peppers for the last year. Um, I do like the
Oh man,
world's
that's awesome.
crappiest John Frusciante impersonation on guitar. It's like so bad, but it's so much fun. I have such
It's so
fun doing it.
no, it's you gotta do it, man. You gotta explore all the.
Yeah,
It doesn't. Yeah, I mean the fact that you love do what you love. It's. I know it's cliche, but it's just like, who cares? Like if you love it, just have at it.
yeah. So the reason why I asked if MTV was your last job in the video game business, I wanted to see what do you miss about the video game business? Because I think we were in it. It's such a amazing and wonderful time that in
Yeah.
some ways I miss what it was, but whoop. And we have operational difficulties again. Just as I was about to engage in some actual journalism and ask a really important question. Hopefully, it'll stay in my head. I won't forget it. I'm going to work on some of my improv class. Remember, add information and do that yes and stuff. Yes, and I am alone. So I'm going to give my Chiron back to myself. Still at Horse and Hound. That joke, of course, is from Notting Hill, which to me is the progenitor of modern rom-coms, and still I don't think anything can touch it to this day. There are some that come close, but something about a peak Julia Roberts and a peak Hugh Grant that cannot be touched. Also, English movies are just in general better than American movies. They don't have to be so ham-fisted. They know what subtlety is. While we're waiting for Jeff, check out this old picture of me and Jeff when we both had hair. God damn, what a cutie patootie Jeff was. That's Jeff on the left, of course. I am the larger one in the brown jacket. And that tie, I believe, is from Barney's. Man, I wish I still had that tie. I don't know where it went. That would be amazing if I could find that tie again. But we will see. We will see. I can see clearly now. The rain is gone. But while we're waiting for Jeff, I will tell you guys these stories. So, just as Jeff went to college, he started college before I did. He also was in the video game business before I did. And Jeff, being the personable fellow that he is, of course, everyone loved him and they knew him right away. So, and when I got into the video game business, I was a little shy, but I knew that everyone knew who Jeff was. So I'd be like, hey, you want to hear something about that Jeff guy? Dude was in an Asian boy band. And that was my thing for about a year. That's how I got to know people and talk to people, by telling them stories about Jeff. So. Oh, you're back. Did you hear that
There you
story?
go. I heard the end of that. Thanks. And I'm sorry
that was my
it's
hook.
going out.
No, it's
Oh,
my
nice.
fault. No, it's not my fault. But I wanted to ask you, what do you miss about the video game business, especially at that time that we were in, where it was just kind of crazy and wonderful?
Oh man, yeah, I feel like that was the golden era, that
we
we
have a
were in.
comment from Drew. He
Yes.
said, "I am disappointed you don't have that footage of talking about youth." And Drew wants some euthanasia footage.
Oh, I'll find some links I can share, I guess.
Come on, Drew. You know Carol has that, and she's not sharing it with you.
This is
be
true.
real.
This is true. Oh, oh, what's up, Drew? Hey, Carol. Um, yeah, I want to make sure I keep my street cred, but I feel like after this, my street cred would just dip completely. But
No.
it's all good. It's all good. It's all good. It's all right. No, but in terms of what I miss about the video game industry, I mean, yeah, dude. I think some of the most brilliant people, most creative people that I've ever had the pleasure of working with were all in the video game industry. They're so well read. They knew everything about pop culture, such as yourself, and they're I don't know, it was just an amazing time. I miss working with, the type of enthusiasm, the type of
Yeah.
passion that the folks in the video game industry have.
Yeah, it's
And
a
it must,
pretty incredible thing. Just as you said, the passion, the creativity. I loved when I go to an event like Dice or GDC, where I walk into a room. I'm clearly the dumbest person in the room, surrounded by all
no,
these amazing creatives, and it's just a pleasure to be among them. Just
yeah,
wonderful, creative, amazing people, and it's kind of a. And I don't want to look down on any of their businesses that I've been in, but
yeah,
uh, it's kind of a letdown when you when you meet. Not for me. I'm speaking for me. I'm not going to
yeah,
speak for
yeah.
anyone
No,
else.
you're right.
Yeah.
No, but you know what was cool about it too is that there's a sort of hunger or a sort of grit to video game folks because they knew they were not recognized as a mainstream form
Yes.
of entertainment, and they were fighting for that respect. So therefore I feel like they had a chip on their shoulder, but also in a good way because they just wanted to prove, look, we belong. We're not just nerds. We're not just people hang out in our basement. I was like, damn, these are really bright, intelligent, creative, witty people, fun, and they're fun to hang
Yeah.
out with. So and the damn they can drink.
You know, you when you said "We Belong," now I have "We Belong." Who sings that song again?
Stupid.
That's
It's
awesome.
oh, what's her face? We belong. Yeah. Oh shoot, why am I blanking? I see the video in my head.
Pat Benatar.
Uh,
Yes.
uh, Pat Benatar. Yes, yes, yes. I kept on thinking "Love Is a Battlefield," but yes, no, you're right. We belong. Pat Benatar. Pat Benatar. Both of them. Both of those songs are hers.
Yes.
Yes.
Now that song is stuck in my head, and
That's
I
okay,
can.
man. We do belong, though. We do
But
belong.
yeah, I mean, what advice would you have to give to any young people watching this that want to pursue a career in entertainment? What worked for you, and what would you tell them? What pitfalls did you fall into that they can avoid, and how can they avoid it?
Um, well, I will say pitfalls. Know your worth. You probably shouldn't accept a job at $17,000 a year. That's number one.
That paid out though. That paid
It
out
did
though.
pay it out. It did. It did. You know, but again, it was the kind of thing I wanted to prove to my parents. Like, look, I know this just seems crazy now, but one day I'll show you. I think sticking to your gut, find something that you're truly passionate about, and if you really want it, you're gonna have to sacrifice a lot. And then, you know, um, work really, I mean, it sounds cliche, but work really hard and it's kind of like, first one in the gym, last one to leave the gym sort of thing,
Ah,
because you want to know your stuff, but at the same time, like as a PR person, I never wanted to be someone who came across as a car salesman type. I wanted the work to feel like it was a natural conversation, rather than hey, what's up, man? I'm gonna try to pitch you on something. Yeah, because that just doesn't feel good. So, you know, I also say listen to people as opposed to just making it about yourself. Get to know people, create relationships, real relationships, with the people you're working with. If you decide to get into PR with journalists, and, you know, be curious, be interested in who they are, not just about, hey, I need to get this placement, I need to get this article written. It's like, find out what makes them tick, because, you know, you'll probably find a really cool person outside of the work thing, and that makes the work a little bit easier, I think. You know, the work becomes an afterthought, but it
yeah.
makes it easier to do, to have conversations about work if you have trust with each other.
And that is really fantastic advice. And I just want to laud you on an incredible career. Not that you're dying anytime soon, but
I hope
you've done
not.
a lot. You've done a
Thanks, man.
lot for some of the biggest brands in entertainment, one of the biggest video games ever, or two of the
Thank
biggest video games ever. Incredible franchises. And it's so amazing that you've gotten to work on Grand Theft Auto, on Rock Band, that you've gotten to meet Beatles. That's crazy. And it all started with a communications degree and a dream.
you.
I
At
think, is
SUNY
that your motto?
Albany. Yeah,
Yes.
with SUNY Albany with Ray Padilla.
No.
See, no, but it really, I mean, again, kudos to you, man, because like you've been in this game, in this business for a long time, and you've reinvented yourself. You continue to reinvent yourself, and I always find it,
Trying.
yeah, I always find it interesting too, because like you've seen it all too. You've seen the changes that the industry has gone through, and journalism has gone through. Like, I mean,
Oh my God.
like,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. I mean, what's that like? I'm out of curiosity.
Um, it makes me feel useless on some days, that I'm not like a 23-year-old girl in a hot tub that can scream and talk about anything, and millions of people will watch. But
But you
I
can be if you want.
that's true. All I need, but I don't have the communications degree and a
Oh
dream.
my.
uh, it is a different world, and I miss the what it was at that time, because it was such a special time. I was working on the internet, but before social media really blew up.
Happy
So
puppy.
happy puppy, yes,
Yeah,
and we were not far from each other
that's
in
right. That's right.
Soho.
That's right.
God, it's funny. I was talking to someone about. Do you remember Parisi's Deli?
Yeah, I do.
So
Yes. Oh, so good.
ridiculous sandwiches, and was
Yes.
also next door to a like a modeling agency. So one of my coworkers and I would just get a sandwich and just like sit and like look at the models. I'm like, yep, there goes another one. This one's 6'2". Um, but yeah, it is an interesting thing, and that's why I had a conversation earlier this month with Dean Takahashi,
Yeah,
who is like
Dean.
the
Yeah,
journalist. So
that's right.
it's amazing that he's still doing it after 30 or something years, and
Yeah.
it, kudos to him. But yeah, I mean, first of all, I wasn't that good.
No,
Ever.
dude, but just think about it. Like you've recreated, like the fact that you're a creator, you've been a creator now for a while, and you've explored all these types of passions, and the fact that you continue to do it and talk about it, it's like it's great, man. It's really really amazing stuff.
And wait till you see my next trick.
Oh,
Well,
mhm,
let's see. Let's see. Maybe give me 6 weeks or two
okay,
months, and I might
all
have
right.
something interesting. But
I'll hold you to that.
this is about you, Jeff.
Okay, okay, okay.
I hope the people out there, if you want to learn more about Jeff's career or learn about him, drop him a line. There is his Twitter. Ask him questions. Um, if you're a guy, send nudes. No.
I hate you.
Okay, don't send nudes. Girls send the nudes.
Oh
That's what it is.
God.
Okay, nobody send nudes.
No, please, no, 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 no.
Yes.
Yes, family friendly, responsible.
Guys, send nudes.
Oh God.
If
Remember,
he does not
mature, responsible, right?
if he does not have at least a dozen dick pics by the end of the week, I will be very disappointed in you, internet.
Oh, I hate you. I hate you. Look, the
It's like,
readers of
what is
Horse and Hound. I don't know. The readers of Horse and Hound would not approve of this.
this is true. But seriously, ask Jeff questions. He's had an amazing career and he's not done yet. He is still doing awesome things at
Thank
Samsung.
you.
I hear he is going to be the next member of BTS. So that's going to happen. And follow me up here. There's all my socials up there. Like, subscribe, share this video with your friends. If you know any young people that are pursuing a career in entertainment, show them this interview with or this conversation with Jeff, and maybe they'll be inspired to follow in your footsteps. Because I truly believe, yeah, you've been my friend for more than 20 years, but you're also someone I respect professionally and I admire personally. And I think there's a lot of young Asian kids that I hope follow in your footsteps, Jeff.
Thank you. So, well, hopefully they can create, make it bigger and better, just like they did with Liga Filipina. So,
Yes.
I appreciate that, though, Ray. Thank you.
No problem. And I hope to see you soon, my friend. It has been way too long. I was happy to have
Yes,
this time to
sir.
catch up.
Well, let me know when you're back in New York, and we'll get the crew back together.
Oh, actually, Shane and I will be in New York in August for
Shoot.
Pokemon Go.
Oh, no way.
We're such nerds.
Oh, no, that's
Yes.
awesome. I could bring my
Yes.
kids. No, that's awesome. That's very cool.
And be like, look, this is what adult nerds look like. You show your kids us.
No,
Maybe
it'll be great.
Awesome. Well,
It'll
thank
be
you
all good.
RPAT TV 3000, and we will see you next time. Bye, guys.
Thanks.